Good morning and welcome to a special edition of the NBA Daily. I'm your host, Zena, Keita, and I'm joined by one of my favorite people in the world, Marcus Thompson. And I don't know if you guys heard over the weekend, but a particular player from a particular team that Marcus and I are very well acquainted with had some choice words about the future of that team. Marcus, did you hear these words that I'm referring to?
Yeah, I really miss what Brandon Pajemski said. What did he say?
It wasn't Brandon. But if anything, it's Brandon's like mentor, the guy that he looks up to and wants to be like. Draymond Green, always known to be, a bold figurehead for the Warriors, made some really big claims as he was part of the TNT.
Big claims. Like
part of
like
the TNT
biggest
broadcast.
claims ever.
Well, Steph Curry, alluded to how big they were too in his post All-Star game press conference. But Draymond, I'll go ahead and read the quote. But at some point, as he's explaining where he thinks the Warriors are going to be, he said, "I'm sorry. I said I think we're going to win a championship, but I lied. We are going to win the championship." Boom. Now, of course, he was referencing where the Warriors stand since Jimmy Butler III, joined the Warriors. They've been 3-1 since. They closed out a road stint with a win against the Houston Rockets before they went into All-Star weekend. 3-1 looks good. Definitely looks a lot better than the ability that, the Warriors had to be able to have a lot of wins stacked up. Still haven't been able to get 3 in a row, but it's been a while since they got 3 in a row, but they look good. So, Marcus, I want to ask you, first and foremost, if you're Steph Curry and you hear your teammate, Draymond Green, on national television before the All-Star game make a claim like, we're going to win the championship, what's going through your mind?
If I'm me, or what's going through Steph Curry's mind?
If you're Steph Curry, yes.
Because my answer would be different. I'd be like, shut up, Draymond. Like, what is he?
I was going to ask you to follow up with that, but I wanted to see Steph's mind first.
No, Steph loves that stuff. Like, I think people miss this. There's a reason, like, those two are like just so intrinsically linked, right? They're the same person. It just manifests differently. Like Steph is an absolute maniac. You saw him on TV. He was like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what he's supposed to say. And it's like,
right.
yes, that's a maniac, right? I mean, I think people forget, like, he's all jacked now, but Steph was a 5'0", 100 high school dude talking about, I'm going to the NBA. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it was insane. Like, you got to be delusional to become Steph Curry. So the reason they click is because they think that way. And they got Jimmy Butler, right? And as much as this is like a wild claim, the funniest part was hearing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander asked about it, and he was like, "That's what he plays for Golden State, so I expect him to say Golden State's gonna win." And he left it so simple.
Yeah.
It was that's what I expect him to say. But it was more to me like a tribute almost to what Jimmy Butler has done to this team. This is the same team who all year long have said, this is not a championship year. We're building towards something. Right. I sat with Draymond in Hawaii where he said, like, we got to get there. Like, he wasn't like, we're going to win a championship this year. This is before 12-3, right? This is before the hot start. He's saying,
so Jimmy shifted him fully forward.
Yeah, no. At the beginning of the year, he was talking about, like, listen, we're going to build the road to a championship right now. Even if it happens after I retire, I'm still going to be here. I'm still part of this. So I'm still part of that championship. He was talking about if we win a championship in 5 years, right? And then obviously they go on this losing streak and Steph is up there every night trying to explain why they suck, right? Like, so, I mean, literally Steve Kerr said before the deadline, we aren't good enough to not do anything. Just the coach.
Yeah. Yeah, right. The person behind the helm of it. Yeah, exactly.
The undercurrent that was going on the entire time is Steph Curry and Mike Dunleavy and Steve Kerr and Draymond Green are all saying these dudes ain't good enough. Like all year long, there's been undercurrent. We're not good enough. We need to make some trades. Now they've gone from that. They trade for Jimmy Butler. and they out here with the sparkles going in the VIP section at the party. You know, they think they in the contender VIP section right now. Like we in there with OKC in them, you know,
I can't stand
that's what Jimmy Butler has done.
Right,
He's
right.
infused this whole franchise with like this new belief. And the craziest part, Zena, is we still haven't seen Jimmy buckets yet.
Yeah, that's been the whole thing this entire period of time since he's joined. Jimmy Butler has said directly, I'm still not even in shape. Like, I'm still trying to get my win back. Steph Curry has referenced that. He said, you know, even Jimmy will tell you that he's not really to Jimmy's shape just yet. And it's real. He had only played 25 games in the season before he joined the Warriors. And you're seeing him still do the things that Jimmy Butler is capable of doing, getting inside, creating content, getting to the line, which is exactly what the Warriors needed. But you're right about everyone in that program being well aware that they were headed in the wrong direction. That's quite literally what Draymond Green said, that they were trying to figure it out and they were never figuring it out. And since Butler joined them, they're walking into every game thinking and believing that they're going to win that game. And for me, and speaking to people around the organization and also just speaking to people that are consistently watching the Warriors, some people still think that they need size. You know, some sort of a move maybe on the buyout market, et cetera, to get some size inside. We knew that the whole Vucevic situation did not pan out, but just Jimmy Butler alone and his ability to come in and change the dynamic of the Warriors offense has got them believing that they're going to win every single game. When you think about the West, how valid do you think that claim is that they can come in against a Denver without size against Jokic, against Dallas, which, I mean, yes, they've lost their size, but Dallas still was able to pull out a win against them. How feasible is this in the West right now?
I think the West makes it unfeasible. You know what I'm saying? I think it's not like, I understand what Draymond's saying. Like, you got Steph Curry, you got Draymond, you got Jimmy Butler. Like, they can win any series. Mm-hmm. Like, they can do it. But that ain't how you win a championship, right? You got to win 4 of them things.
Right.
Right. It's like, so to me, that's the part that's tough. Like, if they somehow, you know, like, I mean, they're just like every other team. They need things to fall right. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So they need a first round that, you know, is amenable to them. Like, if they got to go through Jokic and Anthony Davis and, you know, like that's tough. But I do feel like if you just look up and they make the West Finals, I see it. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I see it at that point. Yeah, like, we've seen Jimmy Butler do less. We've seen Steph Curry do it with less, right? With a compromised Klay Thompson and the best of Andrew Wiggins. We've seen Jimmy Butler get to the finals, you know what I'm saying, with Gabe Vincent as the point guard, right? Like, good players, but not that kind. But that was in the East too, where you basically got to win one big series. The problem with the West is you probably got to at least get through 2 really, really good teams. And I don't think it's a matter of ability or talent. I just think it's really, you know, like, it's really about retention and, you know, it's survival. And that's the question I have. Not like their top end. I think they'll be pretty good. Like, if the games are close, they got dudes who can close. They got 2 of them. But just the course of a playoff run is so grueling. It's the reason they won 4 championships, is because they can do that. I don't know if they can do that anymore, because it's going to take a lot of other dudes to play well. But, you know, I get the sense of it though. Like, they got Jimmy, you got Steph. It just makes you
feel good.
The dopamine is high right now in Golden State, right? It's feeling good. They're feeling good.
But this is a team at the end of the day that's 1 game over 500 now, 28-27. They got 20 or so games.
And that 3-1 was like, it was a fight for it. It wasn't like they were cooking teams. Like,
it wasn't like they were rolling through them. Exactly.
They were hanging on for dear life.
Especially that last Houston Rockets game too. But I agree with you. I definitely think for the Warriors, it's a factor of positioning. It's where they find themselves, you know, in the Western Conference when playoffs arrive. Are they in that play-in position? Are they in the top play-in position or the bottom play-in position where you have to win 2 games versus just the 1 to be able to go in? Like, I definitely think that the Warriors need to play to find themselves, as you mentioned, that amenable first round choice. Now, in the context of what you were just talking about, Steph being able to bring a team to the finals, alongside, again, a compromised Clay, et cetera, Jimmy being able to carry a team to the Eastern Conference Finals, how big would it be, hypothetically, if they were able to find a way to climb through the Western Conference and make it to a Western Conference Finals, let's say against OKC, like in the legend of particularly Steph, and then let's add in Jimmy Butler into that. Where does this stand? Like, where would you put it in your mind?
Yeah, this is like John Henry's folklore, right? This is
This is David and Goliath.
This is like,
yeah.
This is Josh Gibson. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got more home runs than Babe Ruth. Like, this is like, you know, the old stories we used to hear. Like, they become, I mean, Jimmy is already low key that, right? Like, he's already kind of this like folklorish figure that in 20 years, when we're talking about the NBA and people are going to be looking at the numbers and they'll be looking and nobody's going to, I'm going to be the old dude in the barbershop just getting with a little hair I got left lined up. And I'll be like, y'all don't know about Jimmy Butler. And they not going to believe me because you had to be there to see it. You know, Jimmy is one of them dudes. Like y'all to see him at the bubble looking like the Popeye's chicken bean when he had nothing left, right? And like sit outside
bent over, remember? Lean over. Oh, absolutely. No one can forget that. Y'all don't know about playoff Jimmy?
Yeah,
y'all don't know what playoff Jimmy means?
Like, he already one of those type of dudes anyway. Right. So if they get there, I do think, you know, I forgot who said it. It might have been Kendrick Perkins. And they were like, nobody's afraid of the Warriors. I disagree with that. I think that is the team you don't want to see. The last thing, like, if you're Oklahoma City and you should win a championship, the last thing you want to do is, like, have to deal with Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler. Like, that's a scary, because even if you beat them, like, you're walking out of there bloody, right? There's going to be a chunk. They're taking their chunk of flesh.
Correct.
This is what they do.
You're going to be wounded. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So now that
they've
hurts
been
you
in
for
this
the next
arena
level.
So many times.
This is what they do. And now you tell them you ain't got nothing to lose. Nobody expects you to win. Like, you telling Steph Curry, you an underdog again. Like, you know what I'm saying? You telling Jimmy Butler, you're an underdog again. Like, they live for this stuff. So I do feel like, they can get, like, they can upset somebody. My question is, can they win and then win and then win and then get to the finals and win? Like, these dudes are 35 and up. Like, you know, they gonna be getting to bed. they gotta get to bed at 6:30. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gotta be different.
What's funny about that is that you think about the All-Star game, of course, Shaq's OGs pulling out the win. It was Kevin Hart that said, this is a team of bad knees and bad backs.
Yeah. It's like the one funny thing Kevin Hart said all night. No, he was okay. He was pretty funny.
Not the point. Let's go.
My fault. No, he actually was funnier than he normally is to me. He had a couple.
My favorite part easily was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander telling him to, like, wrap it up when he was talking about his mustard colored sneakers that just dropped this weekend. I was like, oh, Shai has no patience.
The mustard line was fire, though. That was one of the great moments where he just screamed. But I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. I was hating too, so it was funny.
But there you go. Okay,
here's the other thing too. Like the thing,
if you get the cosign from Marcus Thompson, good for you.
The thing that I think this shows that also makes me feel like, hold up, before I pause, before I say they can't do this, I'm like, hold up. I mean, there's just something that we just forget about sometimes about an NBA superstar. Like, it changes things, and we've seen this in the Wiggins to Jimmy Butler transition. You know what I'm saying? Like, Wiggins is a really good NBA player. Like, he's an all-star caliber player. And so much so, several in the organization did not want to give up Wiggins, right? It was like, I don't know, you don't give up Wiggins. He plays better defense. You know, he shoots better three. You know, Wiggins, he's a great locker room teammate. Like, he's a great guy. Like, people did not want to give up Wiggins. But, like, a week later, like, nobody's saying, don't it? Like, Jimmy Butler is a superstar. And that, to me, I think is the difference that I kind of underestimated, because I was a big Wiggins guy. I was like, Wiggins, man, Wiggins is good. But a week later, like, it's like, okay, yeah, this is the clear difference. Draymond is not going on TV saying we gonna be championship if Wiggins is still on the team.
I know. And that hurts my heart for Wiggins to think of just a shift of how quickly the perspective of the Warriors shifted after he left. But you're right. Like, as you watch these last 4 games, the pull, like Steph Curry has this gravitational pull. That's what everybody talks about. The gravitational pull of Steph Curry, off ball, on ball. It doesn't matter. He's pulling 2, 3, 4. If anything, even if he's not pulling bodies, he's pulling eyeballs. Steph Curry goes out there with Jimmy Butler, and now it's like this shared vision. Like, there's an actual balance in the way that defenses are thinking about who do we have to lock up? What decision do we have to make on the defensive end? Now, we haven't even talked about this. We keep talking about, yes, the Jimmy Butler factor. Jonathan Kuminga's on his way back.
Yeah, that's the X factor, I think.
Okay, what are your thoughts on how Jonathan Kuminga is going to fold back into this mix?
I do feel like, however happens, he's got to come back with like the most confidence he's ever had as a Golden State Warrior. I mean, it basically was like, listen, Jonathan Kuminga, we went 15-50. We got the number 2 pick in the draft, and the next year we had 2 first-round picks, and we've been trying to draft somebody. You the last one left, buddy. This is your show, right?
It's your show.
We didn't try to trade for me. We didn't try.
Right.
We didn't try everything. We didn't try to get Laurie Market in. Like, we didn't try it all. Hey, bro, this is your show. Yeah, this is the same Jonathan Kuminga who's been benched, who's been, minutes and all that. Like, now this is like, he's free to go be Jonathan Kuminga. They need him to go be Jonathan Kuminga. So he should play with the utmost confidence. The owner, Joe Lacob, was talking about, of course we're paying him. Like, we're paying him.
We're not getting rid of JK. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of JK. Like, it's going to take, like, clearly it's going to take like Giannis or something. Like, clearly. Hey. So, like, he should come back feeling good. And to me, what's unique about his, like, the way he's come back is they've been on this, like, get downhill, get downhill, get downhill. Like, one of the things Jimmy has done has, like, he's made that a thing now. Whereas before Jimmy, they were so content with staying on the perimeter. But just by virtue of Jimmy not doing that, you're seeing Podz get downhill. You're seeing Moody go off the dribble, right? You're seeing Draymond do it. And now you got probably the best on the team at it outside of Jimmy. Is like just physical getting downhill. I'm curious if that like really kind of fuels the new play style of pushing it, driving. That's to me, Jimmy Butler's greatest attribute is showing these dudes like, hey, when your shot is off, you can still have a productive game by doing something else. Right. And so Kuminga, like, if he's watching that, you can see Kuminga was the best one at it already. Like he's the guy's like, I'm off. I'm going to go get 6 free throws real quick. So now you put them 2 together. Like, it'll be fun. Like, like, again, I think, you're going to have a problem with the size. The other issue they have that Draymond, if he was being, honest about it and not just motivate his teammate, like, it's some other stars in this league. They just basically caught up as far as the star count. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Everybody else got these too. It's not like, okay, remember the Durant came and it was like, this isn't fair. Like, no, they were at a deficit.
For a while.
They were at a deficit, and now they've caught up. Yeah. So, but the other advantages these other teams have, I do think some teams like Minnesota, vulnerable, Sacramento, vulnerable. Some of these other teams like Dallas is vulnerable. So I see what he's saying. The X factor is going to be like, how good is Jonathan Kuminga now? Because if he's really good, Zena, that might be the game changer. That might be the game changer.
I agree with you. And the thing is, so you were talking about Jonathan Kuminga should come back with the utmost confidence because he made it through the trade deadline. He is with this team. They have shown commitment to him. And they said that they're going to pay him. That's a great point that I didn't even think about. I was thinking he should show the utmost confidence because it is very clear what the Warriors are valuing right now. And that is someone that can get to the line.
What he does,
And that is exactly what he does. It's like, if anything, if before this trade you were concerned about my ability to shoot threes, my ability to space the floor, my ability to be that guy that can read and react within this offense and isn't necessarily coming off of pick and rolls or just going downhill. If you were concerned about your bag not being expanded, you now feel completely convinced that exactly what you have is great. It's enough, because clearly that's exactly what
they need him to shoot more threes because they gave up a better three-point shooter.
Correct, exactly. And now you have even more of a green light to pull up in transition or whatever.
We told you not to take. Yeah, go ahead.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I know what we said.
We were just playing. We actually love that.
Any chance at all you could get to 38%? Please, you think it's possible?
Oh yeah, he'll love that.
Like, take that three now. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, it's green light. He's got the keys to the kingdom. Like, this is set up for him.
Yeah,
to be the player he thought he could be. And then, like, I mean, here's the odd part. I don't know if you see this coming. Like, I'm blindsided by this. The perfect duo that is 4 games, but they look so good together is Jimmy and Podz. I did not see that coming at all. This is like a bad buddy cop movie that ends up being really good on late night on TV. You know?
He's like the Jimmy Butler whisperer. But agreed. Like the bad cop movie that you're like, oh, they actually got a little bit of chemistry out there. Like, it's actually a little bit entertaining. Yeah, that's a really good point.
I wonder, see that coming.
To me, I think it's a reflection of Podz wanting to continuously prove himself to the vets, right? Like, I think that this has been a storyline in general in the way that he's come out wanting to play well against or alongside Steph. He's wanted to play well and alongside Draymond. This is just the narration of that continuing of him wanting to make sure that in any lineup that he's part of, that he helps make that person shine. And right now, his focus, it looks like Jimmy and him are just having a lot of chemistry out there where Podz is like, I get to actually be a point guard and direct some stuff. And here is this shiny new toy that I can play with within the midst of this offense and make him look good.
And he, like, Steph inspires people to shoot, right? Like, people want to shoot. They chuck. You're on the court with Steph. You're probably going to get a lot of open looks from 3 and Correct. They fire. Jimmy inspires people to get inside, like just his presence, just what he's doing, how he focuses. And I do think Podz, there's a part of him, especially after losing Clay, was like, I got you, Newsflash brother in. You know what I'm saying? Y'all adopted a Newsflash brother. But I think Jimmy is almost giving him permission to say, I'm about to attack. And you're watching it work for a guy who's 4 for 12 and somehow ends up with 20 points, right? Like, you're
with
watching
the nasty
it work.
left hook, though. With the nasty left hook.
It's crazy. Like he's down there. And my thing with Podz is I always felt like he underrates himself as a finisher. There's so many times he's driving. I'm like, dude, go up with that. Like, you got touched. Like, you nice. And he won't
he'll pass
do it.
out. You're right.
Yeah. So it's like even the one, what was the one? Was it Chicago where he's driving and he's got, I think it was like late in the game and he had a layup and he kicked it out to the corner for the 3 and Moody missed it. But it was like, it's a layup. It was the game they lost. It was a Dallas game, I think. It's like, it's a layup. I feel like he's got the skill set to finish that. And I do think Jimmy is like showing him like, you know what? Hey, it's money in the paint. Like, I know we all shoot threes, but it's money in the paint. Like, you can go get a bag with me. Paint. Yeah, we gonna eat down here. Yeah,
absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
It's money in the
and you
paint.
think about what Podz was recruited for. Like, I remember him more so being an acrobatic finisher, just someone that could get in the paint and be, squiggly and just like creative in there. So it feels cool to see him kind of stay alongside Jimmy Butler in being able to attack and finish really prettily, seeing those floaters that he, is practicing from Steph, but then getting into the paint like he's practicing from Jimmy. It's like, all right, cool. All of the veteran influences starting to trickle down here.
Zena, that's where I'm like, and you was a big, so maybe you understand me. Like, they need to get rid of this floater stuff, bro.
You don't like the floaters?
I like floaters for people who can float.
Okay. I was never a floater girl.
I don't think that's everybody.
Yeah, it's a hard skill.
You watch Kyrie. He ain't doing. Kyrie's playing with 2 feet, getting into your body. Like, everybody ain't supposed to be out here doing a little quick release. Verse 4, like, man, plant your 2 feet and go up strong. Like, I'm saying, like, Jimmy ain't out here float game. Like,
I can't
nah, he's
stand
like,
you.
man, I'm playing. I'm giving you a pump fake. I'm going up strong. I'm getting into your body. I'm doing,
I
you
don't
know what
know,
I'm saying? Like,
Marcus. It sounds like you're saying that a floater is a little bit of avoiding contact. It's a little
I'm,
bit of avoiding the hard. Is that what you're saying?
ain't no money in avoiding contact. Like,
Okay.
unless you, like, Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. That dude could float with, like, his elbow. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Fair.
but
Okay.
everybody can't do that. So I'm like, Podz, hey, cut this floater stuff out. You know, especially the one he's doing where he ain't even floating. Like, that ball's
It's
in
like
the
a little
air
push
before
shot.
he leave the ground. Like, it's
Yeah,
like
it's a
he
little
ain't even
push
off the
shot.
ground. And he's like, the whole idea is floaters for you to float. But I'm like, nah, man, Jimmy, like you watch Kyrie in the All-Star game, he's going in one-on-one, you know, with Wemby. Like that shot,
Right.
like he's not trying to hurry up and get it over. He's like, nope, I'm getting
Come
into
get
your
me.
body and create
Mm-hmm.
distance with my arm length, right? Like Podz has that ability. He should be doing that more than he should be a little push shot from the dotted line. Cut all that out.
Guys,
Jimmy's gonna be like, cut that out.
to all my listeners, we will be working on a Marcus Thompson coaching segment that is just a little tidbit of what you can expect out
My guy
of
Anthony Slater
Coach
calls me an
Marcus.
old AAU coach.
You give that vibe. You give that vibe. Okay, now I got to close this out.
Left hand, left side, Zena. Left hand, left side. Sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. You really do sound like my old AAU coach. That's hilarious. Okay, so closing this out, we're talking about the ceiling of the Warriors. I did want to talk to you about personality fits because everyone had conversation around will Jimmy and Draymond work. You were one of the only people that were like, obviously it's going to work. Those two are dogs. And Draymond gets inspired and influenced by people that operate like him and that they want to get things done. So far, looks like so good. You know, what kind of things do you think, particularly with Jimmy having Jonathan Kuminga come back on the floor, you know, do you just see this team vibing out for the rest of the season? The way they were vibing out to start the year, do you think they can get back to that to close out this year?
I do think so because I do think Draymond won't be the only voice yelling anymore. And when Jimmy gets to that point, like at some point, some stuff is happening where you can see Jimmy just playing like I'm the new guy. But at some point, he gonna take the mouthpiece out and be like, "We don't want that shot." You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And
sure.
I do think you've heard this criticism from Steve Kerr a lot. They're just a quiet team, right? Like they're a very quiet team.
Yeah, said this. Yes.
They don't talk. And, you know, Steph is a quiet guy. He's not vocal on the floor, but he's got that spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like he's gonna attack a double team. Like he's not gonna say anything. He's not gonna rah, but he's gonna play like that. And I think some of the other guys are quiet and they don't play like that. Like to me, one of the biggest issues I had with the Warriors roster before was they're literally like triple teaming Steph. Like, and if I'm another guy on this team, like that pisses me off. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to your game.
But it felt like nobody else felt that way. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like Jimmy is like, oh, I dare you. Like Jimmy is the type that's like down low with a big man on the body. Like, man, just throw it. Like, I don't care that he's 6 inches on me. Like, I throw the ball. I got this.
And guess
like,
who's
that's
throwing
how you do
it?
your
Draymond Green.
Draymond throwing it. Like, hey, man, he literally be like, but this dude is bigger than you. Along with Jimmy's like acting like this is a little nephew. Like, man, just throw it up. I got it. We ain't even got to move. Just throw it up, right? That energy.
That's amazing.
I think it's inviting, especially early. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that energy is like what people are. I think Jonathan Kuminga will respond to that energy where it's just like, nah, we not about to sit here and let these dudes punk us. Or if a dude, you know, who you ain't never heard of, you know, can't miss a shot. Like, nah, like somebody's getting in him. I think Draymond gravitate towards that energy, but Steph isn't that vocally, but he's that physically, like that's how he plays, and now they got another dude. So I do think you'll see a bit of that spirit. The question is, do they have it at the end of games? Because I think the part that we just cannot stop saying that Jimmy Butler's 35. Steph is 37.
He takes care of his body, but 35 is 35.
He does. 35, and Draymond is the center. right? Like,
Right.
like their bodies have to hold up, right? Like that's a big deal. So all of this vigor and let's go do this, like it comes with a price. And that's where Kuminga, that's where Moody, that's where Podziemski, that's where the other guys come in. So essentially it's on them to keep the older guys fresh, because the 3 wins they had, like Steph's playing,
30 plus minutes.
And
Correct.
Yeah. They fighting for their lives out there. So to me, that energy that Jimmy brings is a bit of it's a definitely a change of pace, right? It's like we ain't soft, that we're not just about to shoot 53s. Now, the Jimmy issues have always been centered around money. You know what I'm saying? It's always like, hey, I deserve this. I deserve this contract. You ain't giving it to me? All right, I'm going to act a fool. Now he's paid. So maybe that mitigates some of it. Or maybe they end up arguing with each other and we'll see how it goes out. But I feel like they'll be cool with it. And the rest of them they just ain't like, who coming at Jimmy on the team?
Nobody.
Like, who gonna be like, hey, Jimmy, you out of
They're
pocket?
also a team full of
that?
really nice guys too. Like that's not the personality.
They're good dudes. And I think Jimmy's a good Houston dude. Like all I've heard about him.
We're not talking about
Jimmy on Houston would be
Rockets.
fun. I want to see Jimmy and Tari Easton go at it. Like, yes. That would be fun, right? Like,
listen, that's another topic for another day. All the hypothetical teammates that would be fired
Dylan Brooks
together.
And Jimmy and Easton, and oh man, that would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Okay,
that would be fun.
Well, I know we are way over time. You probably could go another hour just on the Warriors, but this is why we bring Marcus Thompson, the expert, to come in and give us a little bit of insight. Marcus, plug whatever you got going on right now that the folks can go read.
Man, I'm going to sleep, Zena. Like, we've been going nonstop since the All-Star game.
Oh my
I'm going to sleep.
Okay.
This is the last thing I'm doing before I go to sleep. Like, I'm plugging my heated blanket up. That's what I'm plugging up. I don't have a heated blanket. I'm about to get one.
You should, because I actually have one, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. But this is why this is a special edition.
She keeps it on her side of the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like share that thing. Get over here.
Tell her to, you know what? I'll let her know that she should share the heated blanket. And so you can get a good night's rest.
It's a little one, though.
And we can get
a little one.
Marcus, we got to close this out.
Oh, my fault.
All right, y'all. Go read Marcus at The Athletic. I'm Zena, Keita, Marcus Thompson. We appreciate your time. And we'll see where the Warriors end up when the playoffs come. But for now, this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for tuning in with us.